As a result, the emergency use authorization, the government of India, the drug controller of India, they have given the emergency use authorization. So quickly it came to the market. So now the Covishield. How the Covishield vaccine is not the dead virus vaccine. It is the replication deficient chimpanzee adenovirus vector vaccine. This is vector-based vaccine. So that means we can see that the following administration, the genetic material part of the coronavirus is expressed, which stimulates an immune response. You see the composition of this the Covishield vaccines. So these are the composition. L-histidine, Covaxin, some composition is there. Covishield, other composition is there because their starting material is different. Magnesium chloride hydrate as a stabilizer, polysorbate 8 emulsifier, ethanol preservative, sucrose cryostabilizer. Like that, there are several compositions to make the vaccine stable. How they are making this vector? They are taking the chimpanzee adenovirus. This virus they are modifying. Now you see the color of this virus. It is just color code just to differentiate the original virus from the modified virus. Unable to cause disease. That means it cannot replicate. So it doesn't have the capacity to replicate. This is entering into the spike protein. They are taking the coronavirus, and from that coronavirus, the particular the gene which can code this spike protein is isolated, and they are sequencing that particular gene, and that gene is entering into the modified virus. So as a result, so this modified virus doesn't have capacity to replicate, but it has the capacity to boost up the immune system. As a result, the antibodies will be produced. So in this way, the Oxford vaccine is working. Now the same thing, if you see the Russian vaccine, Sputnik 5 vaccine discovery, they are using two viral vectors. One is this vector AD26, another one is 5. So the same thing, they are taking one particular segment, the gene which codes for this spike protein. Spike protein is very, very important for this coronavirus. Because of this thing only, the binding takes place. So as a result, so they are injecting this genetic material into vector 1 as well as vector 2. So 2 doses are giving. First dose, I will. So anyway, so you can see these mRNA vaccines, the nucleic acids vaccines, same thing, DNA vaccines as well as RNA vaccines. mRNA vaccines platform, you can see that. And always we don't compare our Indian vaccines. We will fight amongst ourselves only. The Covaxin is very great or Covishield is very great. We don't compare Russian vaccine with the US vaccines. So we need to always have this the feelings that we are great and we are Indians, we have the capacity. So if you see the efficacy point of view also, this Bharat Biotech is 80% and our Moderna is 94, Oxford like that. So our Covaxin is also coming within this line. It is also not lesser than that. So let us also feel very great because our country has developed this vaccine in this pandemic time. If we don't have our own vaccines, it is very difficult for our country to save all of our people because our people is more in this world. Let us feel proud. So thank you very much for your. If there is any questions, please. Yes, madam, please.
First of all, thank you very much for this great lecture. Highly appreciated. But I wanted to ask, did you reach to which level, phase 1, phase 2, in case of the 2 Indian vaccine?
For Covaxin and all, we have completed all the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, madam. After that only it came to the market. And even Covaxin is approved by the WHO also.
Not finished yet.
Yes. All the trials are over. So during that, at least 1 year back only, it was in the phase 3. But now 1 year is over. Automatically they have completed all the trials and it was submitted to the WHO and WHO also accepted our.
So why you didn't try to get temporary permission or acceptance as like what is done by other vaccines? you can get the acceptance
in
because we are in crisis.
Yes, madam. In conventional time, now the time is pandemic, so we need, by any means,
Yes.
we need the vaccines. Otherwise, in conventional time, it will take at least 4 years, and slowly they can do the clinical trials. When in normal time, they can use the 100 patient, but in this pandemic time, they will use the 50 patient to speed up the trials very quickly. So that is the only
Excellent.
option.
Congratulations for India.
Thank you, madam. Give me my
Sir, thank you very much for elaborate presentation on vaccines. Just my query was why they say that 2 dosage of this vaccine will not be enough to control this newer mutant virus, Omicron, but booster dose will protect. Just like 2 days back, UK study was there that booster dose will protect, but these 2 dosage will not be enough. So, can you explain it?
The hypothesis is such that, no doubt, first dose we are taking, after certain period of second dose is given. Because we are giving sufficient time to instruct the immune cells to produce the antibodies. As a result, sufficient number of or sufficient concentration of the antibodies will be produced that can protect our body. But whenever the new mutant or the new variant comes to the practice, whether the same virus will work or not, no doubt it is a question mark, but at the same time, that much variations or that much difference will not be there. So like Delta they talked about, now Omicron they are talking about. Whatever the generated antibodies are already there in our body, that is sufficient to counteract that, whether it is original coronavirus or Delta variant or Omicron. Because these antibodies, we know that there is, our body is not going to discover any new antibodies. Whatever the antibodies are already we studied, from that only the immunoglobulin G is going to be synthesized. And this booster dose is, it is a different system. To my knowledge as well as level based, what I feel that booster dose is not that much needed, number one. Still, if we feel that we can give the booster dose, it is another, the business point of view, these pharma companies sometimes, to boost up their business, I should say like this, to boost their business, they will make like this, booster dose is mandatory. Then all over India or all over the world, everybody will go for the booster dose. So if everybody wants to booster dose, they have to manufacture the vaccines. So in this way, the pharma company also will grow. Their economy will be boosted. To my knowledge and level based, it is not necessary that we must give the booster dose. If we don't, till now we did not give the booster dose for our Indian, Omicron also came, nothing happened. I hope that the same thing will continue. Thank you, sir.
I request our special guest, Dr. K.D. Modi, to honor Dr. G. Mariappan. Clear presentation about COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you so much, sir. Honoring from Multipurpose Awareness Society. I request other guests also, other speakers.
Congratulations, sir. Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Once you have water with a certain concentration, a high concentration, 1000 ppm of sodium hypochlorite, then you start diluting because sometimes you need 400 ppm, 200 ppm, and you dilute, and you can add, if you wish, some biodegradable degreaser and some biodegradable fragrance. And that machine has been conceived for not educated people, so that you only press a button. Actually, you have 18 possibilities, so you have 18 buttons, and you can say, oh, I want a product, you see it on the right, for cleaning windows. Or, no, I want a product for my kitchen. And then in the kitchen, you may have a different product for the oven and another product for cleaning the table where you work. Or you could say, oh, now I'd like to clean my utensils. Or I'd like to do it for the floor. Or I want to do it for the toilet, etc. So it can go up to the intensive care units. It can go up to hand sanitizer. For example, it's a very interesting water-based hand sanitizer. It doesn't damage the hands at all. Also, if a housewife has alcohol on the hands and needs to bring the hands close to the fire for cooking, it's not advisable, so a water-free would be better. You can have fogging for disinfecting a room through the air. You can go for swimming pools. You can, and that's quite interesting, develop products for food processing. You know, if you just pour a little bit of that water on a fish while they are processing the fish, or on a fruit, it would not get rotten, because the bacteria cannot enter into the product. So, one machine, 18 solutions. Next. What did we do? This was developed by Swiss engineers, German engineers, and Dutch engineers. So basically it's a European product, with 7 application patents in Switzerland. But we decided to do the proof of concept in India, and this is very rare. I think we are one of the extremely few companies who have developed something in Europe and who decided to launch it first in India. Now the reason is that I had been invited by Prime Minister Modi 3-4 years ago for the Kumbh Mela, and I realized that what we offer is actually exactly the answer to Swachh Bharat, the initiatives of the Prime Minister to try to have more hygiene in India. So I felt, in such a huge market like India, and with the will of the Prime Minister, that's the place where we have to do it. In addition, we were fortunate to meet the 2 brothers, Naushad and Farhad Forbes, who own Forbes Marshall. We have an excellent relationship, a very, very strong trust base, and that also helps. And they have a sense for quality which is unbeatable. So the meeting with Prime Minister Modi, the meeting with the Forbes family, those are the key factors. And then I realized that we have fantastic people. We were able to recruit in India brains, people who have both a brain and a heart. A person who is helping us with the slide is a perfect example of that. And working with such people is such a bliss, such a joy, that it was the 3rd factor. So we developed it in India, and guess what? The Indians, they have even managed to improve the technology which had been established in Europe. We have a joint venture with Forbes Marshall. We built the beginning of a factory, and we also started the commercialization. Now we have a commercialization partially through our own sales force and distributors and key accounts. Next, please. All of that product is highly efficient. You have on that list, I'm not going to read it, it's long, but list of the viruses and the bacteria which are killed by that solution. Those were tested by German and Swiss German virus laboratory, the Robert Koch Institute, which is the reference in Germany, and also Swiss. Meanwhile, we did a lot of tests through the Indian organizations, also Kuala Lumpur Virus Institute, and it all proves that the product is quite efficient. Next, please. Now, in India, you see we have, of course, the ISO certification, we have the EC, the European Community Certificate of Conformity for the machine. We have received the Green Pro by the CII, which we believe very much in it. Now in the test, we did not only test on the efficiency of the bacteria and the viruses, but we worked on corrosion tests, we worked on FDA test report, we worked on biodegradability, and we worked, quite important, on toxicity. Just always to try to measure how aggressive should I be to really kill the pathogens, but without having too many negative side effects on the rest of the human body. Next. By the way, it's interesting to note that the viruses, when they are killed by that solution, they do not have the time to do a mutation. So you reduce the risk of mutation of the virus and therefore a new spread, a second, a third, a fourth wave of like COVID being reinvented and being aggressive again once you believed you had got rid of the previous episode. So the advantages, its effectivity, as we said, for cleaning and disinfecting, you are 99.99% certain and sometimes more. It has a low cost because we realized, as I said before, that everybody speaks about the ecology and the environment, but nobody wants to pay for it. So we made sure that it is a lower cost than the traditional product. It's of course highly sustainable and biodegradable. It's very easy to use. The machine, you see a little bit the screen, people just touch and they say, I want that type of product, and everything comes directly as you need. It's very convenient and it is safe. You cannot misuse it. So it will always give you exactly what you want, and it reduces the complexity of the logistics. Next. So we see it, as I said, as a B2B for healthcare, hospitals, for hospitality, hotels, but in India it's, for example, also temples, for facility management, you would have it for malls, airports, etc., and for food processing. Then we have the bottles in the B2C. Then we have, as I said, and that's for me the key thing, the government. I really believe this is a product for the government of India or for some states. So we were talking to Telangana, for example, but also Maharashtra, Gujarat, and a few others. We're going to talk to Uttar Pradesh, we're going to talk also in Chennai. So we are going to meet chief ministers, and we explain that because it should be quite cheaper for local governments, also municipalities, to use that product as a preventive tool as opposed to having to try to solve the problem after, once people are infected. Next. So some concrete examples. We started now 3 years ago with Chest Hospital in Pune. That was upon the recommendation of the Maharashtra Minister of Health, and they are very happy, and they certified that the product was so useful for them. We also had at Chem Hospital a new machine, because the first was a version which we call ProFlask, invented in Europe, and the ProTank, invented in India, and also highly satisfactory. We are developing those machines. Also, we put them in some hotels, we put them in some commercial centers, we put them in some factories. Now we had probably 20, 25 machines which are running in different sectors and different parts of India. It all gives quite positive results, and the sales have started as well. And we see very good results. I'm particularly happy to see that we are not only in hospitals and in hotels and all of that, and in facility management, but we are already in slums, panchayat, and that's where I believe there will be a very, very big need, and the government can play an important part. Preventive health. Next. With the technology, you can go further. Now, there's a lot to do already, but it's interesting because you can really go much deeper into food processing. Imagine, for example, a milk processing plant. You want to avoid E. coli, so you bring that product. You bring for the time chemicals to kill the E. coli. Of course, you get rid of the bacteria, but at the same time, it's a chemical product, which is not good because residues would stay in the milk powder, for example. So here we have a way to clean the milk installations with no chemical products, and that will make a big difference. You have a lot of applications in agriculture. It can start with you can ensure pure seeds, but you can also work very much on phytosanitary, so you can go on pesticides. Of course, you kill all those microorganisms the same way, but this time on the plant, so in agriculture. You can work on greenhouses. You can do a lot of, calling me from China. There are, you have the possibility to preserve the food from the farm up to the market. The same technology helps to go very much deep in the water sanitation and cleaning the dirty water. You have cleaning in place applications in the industry, up to the oil industry, for example. You have applications in residential, and you can go much deeper in medical solutions. We know that you can, for example, heal a wound with that. But those are future music and future applications. Next, please. So this is what we wanted to share with you. We believe that one day it will be clear, we will reach the end of many of those polluting chemical products. I think everybody wants first to ensure a good health. So for the health, you are ready to accept to damage a little bit the environment, but the environment awareness is increasing, and therefore there will be the need for a balance between protecting 100% the health, but trying to do it without damaging the environment too much. And this is the path on which we are, and it's going very well. And we believe that we can cooperate both with the private sector, for example in hospitals, and with the public sector, both again for the public hospitals, but for preventive health for least favored people. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that it was of interest to the audience. And should there be any question, of course, we're available. We wish you a great and a very successful conference. Congratulations for your initiative. Thank you very much. And greetings from snowy Switzerland, because since day before yesterday, the country is completely covered by snow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nageshwar sir, are you there?
Yes?
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
yes. In case there are questions, I'm available.
Yes, yes, sir.
Mike, we'll meet in Telangana, we'll meet in Hyderabad early next year. Yes, sir. Thank you. All the best.